Hey there, welcome back to Living in Denver, here with Adam Lang. Really excited to have a very interesting topic for my young professional audience. Today I'm going to be sharing my 3 top neighborhoods in Denver, Colorado for young professionals. You're not going to want to miss this one. In addition to some local insight that I'll be sharing, I'm also going to be talking about just some of the most popular, again, neighborhoods for young professionals here in Denver, Colorado in 2023. Stay tuned. All right, as I said earlier, today I'm going to be sharing my top 3 neighborhoods for young professionals in Denver, Colorado in 2023. I chose these 3 spots just based off of the focus on healthy, active lifestyles, as well as their easy access to both downtown, the parks that are in the area, and also just the social scenes that they provide. Again, if you're a young professional, most likely all of those factors are going to come into consideration when picking your next place to live here in Denver. If you guys don't know already, my name is Adam Lang. I'm a licensed realtor here in Denver, Colorado. As much as I love making videos like this, what I love even more is connecting with people like yourselves, learning a little bit more about what might be interesting you about moving to Denver, Colorado, and hopefully figuring out a few different ways that I can provide value to you. So feel free to hit me up, my phone number, my email, my text, whatever you guys want to do to reach out to me, please do. Looking forward to connecting. And if you haven't yet, make sure you guys hit that like and that subscribe button. I release new videos like this every single week. You're not going to want to miss them. But for today, let's go ahead and get started. Once again, my top 3 neighborhoods for young professionals in Denver, Colorado here in 2023. Let's go. All right, let's go ahead and get started with my first neighborhood for young professionals. I'm going to talk a little bit about Washington Park. All the locals here, we call it Wash Park. So, Washington Park, it is a beautiful neighborhood. It's very historic. As far as where it's located, it's bordered by Virginia Avenue to the north, Downing Street to the east, Louisiana Avenue to the south, and Franklin Street to the west. The surrounding neighborhoods for Wash Park include Spear, Platt Park, and also Bonnie Brae. And in my opinion, what makes Wash Park great for young professionals is definitely that active lifestyle that it promotes. So the park itself, Wash Park, thus the name Wash Park, the park itself has 2 lakes. Both walking and jogging trails are available all around both lakes. There's tons of social sports leagues. If you guys are into that kind of thing, definitely look up a company called Volo, V-O-L-O. They've got all kinds of really cool just intramural leagues. I've done a few in the past. Last year I did a bocce ball league, which was really fun.
You know, I played a little ball in my day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, bocce ball. It's a very little ball, but it's just as competitive. We were gladiators, Charlie.
But as far as Wash Park goes, you would not believe how many people are out there on like a Thursday night for these intramural rec leagues. Specifically, the one I can think of is for volleyball. I swear when I say this, I bet there are 100 volleyball courts out on the park on a Thursday night. There are so many people out there. So if you're looking to meet new people and you just moved to Denver, without a doubt, in my opinion, one of the best ways to meet people, if you're just, again, new to the town, is join Volo, join one of these rec leagues, and just get out there and meet people. Definitely volleyball, I would say, is probably one of the most popular ones, specifically when we're talking about Wash Park. Another thing I really like about Wash Park is just that easy access. So 2 really cool trails. They've got the South Platte River Trail and also the Cherry Creek Bike Trail. And I really love the Platte River Trail. Where I live closer to the Broncos Stadium in the Highlands area, I take my dog out there for walks all the time. It's really nice because there's not nearly as many pedestrians. It's a lot more bicyclists. As long as you know how to, handle the trail and you stay on the right-hand side and make sure your dog's not, veering into the middle of the bike trail, it's a nice spot to walk. It's very peaceful. What's really nice about the Platte River, specifically that trail, you can actually take it all the way from downtown Denver all the way to Cherry Creek Reservoir, which if you're living here in Denver, you'll realize that is a significant amount of distance and it's continuous. So you can just literally hop on your bike, go that entire way without ever having to worry about cars, getting hit by a bus, anything like that. It's a very nice, dedicated trail for bicyclists, runners, or for myself, just walking my dog. So check out both of those trails. Also, kind of going along that same line about fitness and health conscious amenities that Wash Park has. There's all kinds of fitness studios, gyms, health conscious restaurants to choose from. If you are in the Wash Park area, one of my favorites, check out True Food Kitchen. Really healthy, but just still tastes good, which I think sometimes is hard to find when those two are able to complement one another. So definitely check that out. There's also a couple really interesting little neighborhoods in Wash Park. One of them is called Old South Gaylord Street, and there's another one called South Pearl Street. So if you're looking for some fun little areas to explore and see if maybe Wash Park's a place for you, check out both of those areas. And as far as just getting around Wash Park, all three of the neighborhoods I'm going to talk about today, one thing I think all three of them have in common is just their accessibility and how easily accessible they are, both from downtown Denver, if you're looking for a place to work as a young professional, but also just in the evenings, even just being able to go out to bars and restaurants and have some nightlife opportunities without having to get in your car and drive, especially if you're having a few cocktails. So Wash Park, it's about a 10 to 15 minute car ride to downtown. Plenty of public transportation options though as well. We got light rail, buses, and one thing that I think is really fun to use once in a while, especially in the the warmer times of the year, is we have a bunch of Uber and also a company called Lime, where they have these little scooters that you can use with your app, your Uber app, for example, on your phone, and you can just rent these little electric scooters and just buzz around town and get to these different locations really easily that way too. Again, since everything is so close with Wash Park. And then I also just want to share with you guys on all three of these neighborhoods a little bit about real estate and housing options. So Wash Park definitely features a very diverse mix of housing options. What I like about Wash Park is it has that blend of both historic but also modern homes, and that makes it not only a great place to live, but for me, I just love driving or even just walking through the different neighborhoods. Every street has a very unique feel to it, very custom looking homes, and I just love walking around and just admiring some of that architecture. So if you guys like that kind of thing too, Wash Park will be one of your best bets for just, again, having a very diverse mix of homes to look at when you're out on your walk. So again, talking about real estate and housing options, Wash Park, I would say, is predominantly known just for its single family homes. And a lot of these are what I'm kind of talking about right now, really charming bungalows, Victorian homes. A lot of these obviously have been renovated and really updated nicely while still preserving that original character that those homes possess. So I think single family homes in Wash Park are some of my favorite in all of the state of Colorado, again, just from how aesthetically pleasing they are. Single family homes, I would say, again, make up a significant portion of the neighborhood's housing inventory. However, you are going to still find a few other options. There are a fair number of just duplexes and townhouses in the area. I felt like in Wash Park, these properties do also a really good job of just blending well with that neighborhood's kind of style of architecture. So you have all these old Victorian and very old historic homes from potentially being built 100 years ago, yet these new townhomes and newer built properties in the same neighborhood, they do a really good job with kind of blending together, and they don't look out of place by any means. I will also say though that, if you're looking for something smaller or maybe a little bit more affordable, Wash Park is a pretty expensive, very popular part of Denver. These townhomes, as well as apartments and some of the other housing options I'm going to talk about here in a second, they are a little bit more affordable most of the time. So if you have a little bit of a budget and you still want to be in the Wash Park area, I recommend, maybe checking out the townhouse option or even some apartments or condos. So again, not as prevalent as single family homes or townhouses. I do still also want to mention apartment buildings and condos. There's not a ton around Wash Park. However, there definitely still are a few, and they again cater just to that diverse range of tenants, a lot of those being young professionals. So if you are a young professional and you want to be around other like-minded younger people, I do think that a lot of the apartments and condo options are great for you specifically because that kind of fits the demographic of Wash Park and what a lot of the young professionals can afford. So if you're into that scene, you're going to find a lot of, again, familiar faces living in apartments and condos in that Wash Park area. There are still also some luxury homes in the neighborhood. There's not as many as some of the other parts, like Cherry Creek, for example, is very close to Wash Park. If you go towards Cherry Creek, you're gonna see some incredible luxury homes. Wash Park still does have some. I would say that the cost of the homes in Wash Park is somewhat dictated by the proximity to the Wash Park, the park. So if you're on the street really just bordering Wash Park, some of those homes that have very easy access are going to be quite expensive, and definitely some have been improved and renovated to be quite luxurious. So you'll definitely still find some of those. And then last but not least, as far as housing options, as pretty much everywhere else in Denver, there is also some new construction happening in this area. And that new construction consists of, modern single-family homes, duplexes, townhomes. These new builds, they definitely are catering to the demand and the style of what people are looking for in Wash Park. So a lot of these are more contemporary, and a lot of them also do have amenities. So those amenities are appealing, again, to that modern living experience, and a lot of those being great for young professionals. All right, my second neighborhood that I want to talk about that's great for young professionals. I've shared this neighborhood in a few of my other videos, and that's partially because this is where I live, and this is one of my favorite parts of Denver, and this is, again, Highlands. Highlands can also be known as Slow High, which is Sloan's Lake Highlands, but for today's topic of young professional friendly, areas that are great for young professionals, I'm just gonna stick just with Highlands, a little bit more broader scope of the area. Highlands is very trendy. As far as location, again, it's located by Sloan's Lake. As far as the street kind of boundaries, it's bordered by Sheridan Boulevard to the west, I-25 to the east, 38th Avenue to the north, and Spear Boulevard, more or less, for the southern border. And as far as some of the surrounding areas, that includes Jefferson Park, Sunnyside, and as I just mentioned, Loheim. So definitely a really good location. It is fairly close to Rhino, which I'll be talking about as my third favorite. But for Highlands, let's talk about that first. It is an excellent spot for young professionals, again, that have that active lifestyle as one of their priorities. Since you are so close to Sloan's Lake, there's a few other really great parks as well, Highland Park and also Confluence Park. Just the community in general, though, it has a lot of great events for people that are feeling social and wanting to get out and about and meet their neighbors. We've got farmers markets, really fun art walks on Friday nights, and just plenty of, again, fitness, yoga classes, different types of new age style gyms, Pure Bar, and then again, a lot of health focused, really good restaurants if people are, conscious of what they're putting in their bodies. So one last thing I will say about this area, I was thinking about this yesterday as I was walking out in the evening at sunset over at Sloan's Lake. What's so cool is they have these weekly meetups. So you'll see, no joke, probably 75 or more people out on this big field at the park, just doing free yoga classes, different mobility type classes, and a lot of these businesses that have brick and mortar locations in Highlands, in Wash Park, a lot of these neighborhoods we've been talking about in my videos, they, as a way to just kind of prospect and get new members to their studio or to their gyms, they offer these really, really, I feel like, unique classes out in public spaces such as the parks over at Sloan's. So if you're walking around there on a Saturday or a Sunday, you're gonna see that a lot of times early in the morning, about maybe 9 or 10 a.m., or sometimes you'll see it at sunset. And it's really cool just to see so many people out in this field all collectively working towards improving and bettering themselves. So something fun to look forward to if you end up being over here in the Highlands area. As far as where it's at, Highlands is, again, about a 5-minute car ride max to downtown Denver. However, there are some other, really easy accessibility options. One thing I really like about the neighborhood over here is all the bike lanes are very pedestrian friendly. So there's a lot of, again, those Uber and Lime rideshare scooters. People are zipping around town on those, and just these dedicated lanes where even though you are on some busier streets in the neighborhood as you're getting to and from downtown Denver, or even like the Broncos Stadium or the Coors Field, the Colorado Rockies Stadium, you're in these dedicated lanes where you still don't feel like you're potentially gonna get, clipped by a car that's not paying attention. So I think that is a very big benefit, again, of Highlands specifically as it pertains to being close to downtown Denver, where some of the other neighborhoods near downtown Denver are a little bit older and don't have quite as much of a infrastructure when it comes to, again, these dedicated pedestrian and dedicated bike lanes. As far as why Highlands is so special for young professionals and why it's such a popular hangout spot, it definitely, again, has a lot of lively areas. In addition to just the downtown part of Highlands, Sometimes it's called Highland Square. You also have Tennyson Street very close nearby. And then again, that lower Highlands, which has a few other mixed use developments with some really nice bars and restaurants and just outdoor spaces that are really popular in the warmer time of the year, spring, summer, and early fall. So you're never gonna run out of places to go. Wide ranges again of bars, breweries, restaurants, all of that at your fingertips with Highlands. Now, similar to Wash Park, let's talk for a second about real estate and just housing options in Highlands. Highlands is definitely expensive, so I'm 2 for 2 so far. Both Wash Park and Highlands are fairly expensive neighborhoods. So if you are a young professional, you're just kind of getting started in your career, you may have to get a little bit creative when it comes to looking for housing. You might be able to, initially sublease maybe one of your rooms if you purchase a home, maybe rent it out, maybe just, find creative ways to help finance your mortgage. So always keep that in mind, and I'm happy to share some creative tips and suggestions for you if that is something that you're interested in. Again, my number, all my info's down below, reach out. But as far as Highlands goes, definitely famous again for those charming historic homes, the Victorians. There's another type of Victorian style home called the Queen Anne, and then also some craftsman homes. All these unique type homes, they all have these really cool original details, and while they are unique to being, while they're historic looking, they also still have a lot of modern updates, which I love just looking at how different people conceptualize renovating these Victorian homes and putting that modern spin on them. So I think that's super fun and just interesting, again, to walk around and just admire some of that stuff. So you're gonna find a lot of those types of houses in the area. Highlands, you can find a little bit more on the duplex and townhome options than you would at Wash Park. Highlands has a ton of these. It's definitely been a very popular thing over the last 20 to 25 years as Highlands has really become popular and gentrified a bit more and become a lot more of a popular place to live. So you are gonna see quite a few of those, but they usually do fit right in with the neighborhood's vibe. Definitely gives you, again, more options. So if you're not up for a full-sized home, maybe a little bit more on a budget, definitely check out some of the townhome options. And then in addition to townhomes, there are quite a few apartments and condo complexes popping up in Highlands recently. Again, these spots, they cater to all sorts of people, but I do feel like there are a lot of, especially, young professionals in this type of housing. So if you're looking, again, for some friendly neighbors and people that are like-minded as yourself, I think that the apartments and condos are a great choice. And I also probably think that these are gonna be the most affordable option if you are planning on renting instead of buying, or even if you are planning on buying, typically an apartment or a condo is gonna be more affordable than a single family home or a duplex townhome. So I also just will leave it with this as far as Highlands goes. There are a few places in Highlands, one of them being that lower Highlands, the locals call it low high, where you're also gonna find some really cool lofts and these mixed use developments. And what I love about these is they really give off that urban feel, yet they're not in downtown Denver. They still are in more of a neighborhood setting, but they have that urban feel where you can, go downstairs from the building you're in. There's gonna be a very, cool, juice restaurant, juice bar, or maybe even like a mom and pop owned coffee shop. You're just gonna have that feel of like an urban, trendy type living environment. However, you're gonna be in a place like Highlands or Slow High, where you're gonna have, prettier views of the mountains and a little bit more space to get out and go to the parks and just, not feel quite as congested as you would if you were living, for example, in downtown Denver. These places, again, they've got shops, restaurants on the ground floor, very walkable and very convenient. So if you're a young professional and that's important to you, definitely check out Slow High and Highlands. Last but not least, and I'll finish up with the real estate chat on Highlands. There also are quite a few of new builds in the Highlands area, and new builds consist of pretty much everything at Highlands. They're building new modern single-family homes. They're building new duplexes, townhomes, and there's also these really large multifamily buildings that are going up kind of all over the place. You're gonna definitely see quite a bit of construction if you drive through the Highlands area, especially this summer as it's kind of peak building season, and they're really going full steam ahead right now. And there's a really nice big development going on. If you come out to Colorado and you're exploring the Highlands area, especially that low high area, Colfax Avenue is right in that neighborhood, and they're really improving this specific street frontage, which has been in the past pretty dicey. I'd say when I grew up, it was one of the worst parts of town as far as homelessness and just grungy. But nowadays it is continuing week to week, month to month, year to year, getting better and better and better. And this specific area in Highlands, you're really starting to see some great new construction come in and really improve the area. So I think that is one really big benefit to the new construction going on over here at Lohi. So if you guys are into that kind of contemporary design, these new features, you want a brand new home and just something that feels clean and brand new, definitely check out some of these new builds over at Highlands. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and just leave it with, if you have a kind of specific list of preferences and must-haves, I think Highlands is great because you have a little bit of everything. So if you want a single family home and a little bit of a yard, great, it's available here in this neighborhood. If you want something that's much more urban, where you just really are more in like a building, like an apartment building, or even a condo type where you have gate, keyed entry and maybe even somebody at the front desk kind of helping with security, that's available as well. So a little bit of everything here in Highlands. So definitely check out Highlands as my number 2 young professional recommendation for neighborhoods in Denver. All right, so third, but definitely not third place. So last but not least, we have Rhino. Rhino is another kind of acronym that locals, call it Rhino, but the full name is actually River North, so R-I-N-O. And this is definitely, in my opinion, maybe the best quintessential area for young professionals if you are somebody that really likes living that new style of living where maybe you don't even own a vehicle. Maybe you're, somebody that really likes to rely on public transportation and you're, that type of young professional. Rhino is probably your best bet. Rhino also has a lot to offer, so I'll go through a few different of my favorites here in a second, but Rhino is basically just this former industrial area, and it's been transformed over the last 20 years or so into a vibrant arts district, and it's complete with, street art, different kinds of galleries, really cool creative spaces, different shared workspaces, all sorts of stuff that you really don't find in a lot of the older neighborhoods, and especially not in any of the more suburb style neighborhood and communities in the Denver area. So again, if you're a young professional and you're really edgy and you're kind of forward thinking and progressive, I would say Rhino is a must see for one of the areas you should check out. As far as its location, as I said earlier, it is very close to Highlands. As far as its physical location, it's bordered by I-70 to the north, Park Avenue West to the south, I-25 to the west, and about Arapahoe Street to the east. And as far as the neighborhoods that are nearby to Rhino, again, Highlands, and another one that's really up and coming is called 5 Points. As far as for young professionals, again, this neighborhood might be my top pick out of all 3 of these neighborhoods I'm sharing with you guys today. It really does encourage an active lifestyle, but again, it has that easy access to downtown Denver. There still are some great parks very close by. And one other thing I want to share with you guys is there's a really nice access to that South Platte River Trail. And that's what I was talking about earlier, about how it's got this continuous trail all the way from basically Rhino all the way to Cherry Creek. So if you do live in Rhino and you want to just, take a bike ride for the afternoon, you can again enjoy this untouched concrete pathway where you're not going to worry about getting hit by any cars or buses or anything like that. You can just enjoy this really nice dedicated path that again people love to use for rollerblading, biking, running, or like myself, just walking your dog. So check that out. And Rhino also has some really progressive kind of new age style fitness and just health-minded options when it comes to working out. One of my favorites is a place called Movement Rhino. It's a climbing gym, very cool. And there's also, again, a lot of CrossFit gyms, yoga, Pilates, all of the stuff that the younger generation, a lot of the millennials and the young professionals are kind of focusing on as their favorite style of workout. So you got an endless supply of those options for you if you do live in Rhino. After your workout, a lot of the same people, they like to, go from that straight to enjoying, healthy, fresh options for eating and even grabbing a juice or a coffee. So lots of those available as well. A couple of my favorites for Rhino, there's one that's called the Source Market Hall. It's like a shared, almost like a food truck, food hall, but it's indoors. lots of really good options there, and it's constantly evolving with new places coming and going. So every time you go there seems to be a new place that's open there, and excited to try whatever's new there. So definitely check out the Source Market Hall. And another one would be it's called the Beatbox, Bakery and Cafe. So again, just a really nice healthy spot to grab a juice, or maybe you're not drinking for the month of October, and you're just wanting to go somewhere that still has that kind of social vibe where you feel like you are in a social setting, but you don't want to be drinking. Definitely check out Beatbox. Very cool spot. Talking again about proximity, Rhino is the closest of all three of the neighborhoods I'm sharing with you guys today. Very close to downtown Denver. And because of that, like I said, with a lot of people potentially not even owning vehicles, you can take public transportation, or you can just walk from where you live all the way to where you work. It's very, very walkable. Rhino is, I'd say, one of the most walkable neighborhoods in the entire city of Denver, if you are somebody that lives and wants to work in downtown Denver. Those scooters that I've mentioned a few times in this video, the Uber and the Lime scooters, tons of those in this area. Skateboards, people riding their bikes, just a lot of different, health-focused, types of transportation that you're taking advantage of. So, young professional community in Rhino, very thriving. I would say it's probably, the area I don't want to steer or, speak specifically on demographics, but I would say out of all the neighborhoods around Denver, it's got to be one of the ones that has the most highly condensed, highest amount of young professionals and just a younger demographic. So, as you can imagine, some of the attributes that I've been talking about Rhino, not that many older people, especially people with families, are really choosing that style of neighborhood to live in. So without a doubt, you're gonna find a lot of people that are hopefully maybe similar to you as a young professional in this Rhino area. As I did with the last two, we'll talk a little bit about real estate and housing. Definitely Rhino has a lot of really good mixture of apartments, lofts, townhomes, not as many on the single family homes, but really good mix again of the modern style apartments, lofts, townhomes, that style of living. Lots of good dining and nightlife options, obviously, just being in an area like this. Two of my favorites, for Rhino when it comes to nightlife, as I mentioned earlier, Central Market's a great one. There's also a really good bar called First Draft Tap Room and Kitchen. So check that out if you guys haven't been to that before. One last thing I'll share just on a social, bars type topic. We have the Great American Beer Festival every year, and it's really close to Rhino. It's huge. I think it's like the second biggest in the world after Oktoberfest in Germany. So it's in the fall. I think it's in September, late September. But Rhino gets really, really popular that time of year, just with all of the microbreweries and different, draft houses that they have in Rhino. So if you're out and about in the Great American Beer Festival weekend, you're gonna see tons of different events and different stuff going on in all of the restaurants and bars. Lots of great outdoor seating options and just very lively all times throughout the year, but especially over the Great American Beer Festival weekend. And then as I did again, we'll talk for a second about real estate and just the housing mix. So, Rhino is unique compared to the last two neighborhoods that I've shared. Wash Park and Highlands both have more of the single family, more of the traditional style housing options. With Rhino and with that industrial past that it had, you're definitely gonna find a different style of homes, but I think it's very unique and great for young professionals. Lots of really cool lofts, converted warehouses that have been turned into these different living spaces. Some of the characteristics of this type of living, a lot of really high ceilings, a lot of exposed brick, just that really kind of industrial, I don't want to use the word cold, but very, a lot of metal, a lot of brick, just very different from what most people are used to seeing and even considering living in. So if you want to kind of mix it up for a few years and live somewhere that's different than maybe what you're traditionally used to, definitely check out Rhino for that too. Since there aren't as many single family homes or duplexes, again, predominant new apartment buildings, condo complexes, and this is an area that is massively expanding. Tons of new development, tons of construction. When I was down there a couple weeks ago, I could have probably counted 3 or 4 cranes throughout the skyline in the Rhino area. And that's kind of how it always is. And that's just, again, because there are so many new condo and new apartment complexes popping up in this area all the time. So great for young professionals great for artists, really anyone, again, that just wants to be living close to all of the action. I will also just say that, not quite as common, but you're also going to see some really modern townhomes in Rhino. They are a nice option if you're looking for something a bit more spacious than an apartment, but you do still want that urban feel. So if, what I've been talking about with these just apartment type buildings, if that's not your style, but you still think other parts about Rhino sound intriguing to you, there are still some options. It just might mean that you're going to be a couple blocks further out, kind of on the outskirts of Rhino. You're not going to be in that kind of center where it's much more urban. Just kind of one last thing about just the style of Rhino. So since it is so unique to Rhino with all these creative people hanging around, there are some very interesting live workspaces available. And basically what these are is they're really good for artists or even like small business owners who want to kind of have one place to combine both where they live and where they work. So if you haven't really seen that where you currently live, definitely just look it up in Google, live workspaces, Rhino, or better yet, again, my phone number, my email, shoot me a message. I jump on a Zoom call with you, share my screen even with you, and kind of show you a few examples of what I'm talking about. Really, really up and coming style of living for young professionals, I would say, are one of the ones that are most excited about this style that's kind of industry leading and a little bit different than what most people are used to. New build construction, again, most of that's going to be apartments. However, Rhino is always evolving. There's always some new construction going on, and I think over time you are still going to see more of those contemporary single-family homes and duplexes popping up. They're just again going to be a little bit more on the outskirts of Rhino. As far as in the heart of Rhino, that's going to be right now with the new construction, more of those very large multifamily buildings, and they're being developed again throughout the neighborhood. Don't quote me on this, but I believe in 2022, last year, we had about 10,000 new units come onto the market. So in the city of Denver, there's 10,000 new apartments, single family homes, just 10,000 units that were built and developed in Denver. I would argue that a good chunk of that came from this Rhino area. So if that puts things into perspective. So finishing up here with Rhino, in a nutshell, it's got a little bit of everything from lofts, these really cool converted warehouse spaces, still though does also offer apartments, condos, townhomes, those live workspaces, which are really fun to check out. And there are still some new builds and a few single family homes. So for young professionals, definitely a fantastic place to live. And if you're into art, being very creative and just forward thinking and progressive, that urban lifestyle that Rhino provides you is definitely one of the spots you should be checking out.